So Karate Kid sucked. It was very nice to see Mr. Miyagi and see any memories for him. That did make me tear up because I loved Mr. Miyagi so much. And the actual actor. Pat, don't remember his last name, but I loved him, so it's okay. It was cool to see Jackie Chan. It was cool to see Ralph Macchio. But the storyline just sucked. It sucked so much. So here's the thing. I don't know the difference between Kung Fu and karate. It appears that karate is very rooted in Japanese teachings. Kung Fu is very rooted in Chinese teachings. And so they have very different ways of operating. You know, some, I don't know which, but I'm sure that different blocking techniques, different striking techniques, you know? So Jackie Chan, it opens in China, and Jackie Chan has a Kung Fu school, and he has his nephew, and his nephew's mom comes to get her son. It is very clear that she's an American Asian actress. I'm sorry, but you can tell the difference. When someone is American, it doesn't matter what ethnicity you're from. You are different. There is a culture, or there is a vibe to being an American that you can pick up on. So we have this woman who, and I don't know if she's a native Chinese speaker, because it sounded like she had an accent when she was speaking in Mandarin. I assume they were speaking Mandarin because it's referenced later on in the film. So, you know, she doesn't want her son learning Kung Fu, and she lost her son. And I gotta tell you, like, they're talking about the death of a child. They're talking about violence. Later on, spoiler alert, he was stabbed by somebody else. So we're talking about violence. We're talking about the death of a child. And the emotions are so turned down. I didn't give a crap about the kid that was stabbed. He was like a little bit older. I didn't care, because it's like, well, his family doesn't really seem too sad about it. So, you know, like, they tried to make it seem like, you know, they put his little picture like in places, but it didn't ring true. Because whenever there's grief, especially grief surrounded with violence, you're usually going to get some weird stuff out of that. You're usually going to get some crappy human behavior and feelings, because it's such an awful situation, and nothing is going to make it better or make it okay. You just have to get through it. So we find out later that the Karate Kid, who's really the Kung Fu kid, Lee. We find out Lee him and his brother were walking, and they were attacked, and he's like fighting, and then somebody brings out a knife, and Lee just freezes, and he doesn't react, and then his brother is stabbed to death. And he feels so much guilt and remorse, because he feels like it's his fault that his brother died. So if that's the case, it would have been honestly more interesting if they had the mother blame Lee for the brother's death. You know what I'm saying? That would happen in real life. That's actually very common. It's not okay. It's a lot of problems. And most people, when they have something like that, they need some sort of therapy, whether it's a therapist, group therapy, some sort of spiritual advisor. They need somebody to help them through that. But that is a real thing, and they were too afraid to do that with the mom, you know? They didn't even make her like this domineering tiger mom. He has a friend, and his friend is Mia, who's going to be his love interest, and she's supposed to be some sort of Italian. I can say that, and my last name is Greco. I'm Italian, I can say that. But he tells his mom, who we're supposed to believe is born and raised in China, that he's made a friend, Mia, and his mom just like kind of cocks her eyebrow, and then that's it, and then it goes to the next scene. I'm pretty sure a lot of Chinese people born in China, they don't like when their children date or marry of a different race. Now, I'm sure that there are some parents that are liberal and they're chill, but I think that's more common than not. So they were too afraid to do that. Okay, so then you have the villain, you have Connor, and apparently the actor playing Lee is 25 years old, but he looks 17 or 18. He looks like a kid. The same thing with Connor. I don't know how old that actor is, but he just looks so insanely young. But he starts to call Lee Beijing. He's like, come on, Beijing. You know what I mean? Sorry about that. But my thing is, if he's really supposed to be the villain, make him say a racial slur. You over here, you're pussyfooting around, you're like calling him Beijing, Beijing. Make him say the racial slur. If he really is as abusive and as toxic as we believe, as we're led to believe, make him racist. Give some actual teeth and some like talent to this guy, so that way when he's defeated, we'll actually cheer, because it's like, oh wow, he was really bad. You know, his Lee's mom just kind of accepts that he's gonna be in this like kung fu karate battle, or five boroughs, whatever it is. Like, it's not, there's some parts of the plot, it's not even worth talking about, but he's gonna be in this to try to win some money for Mia and Joshua Jackson. Is Joshua Jackson even Italian? Like, he's doing the whole, like, he's doing the New Yorker, the, hey, what we talking about here? You couldn't just pay a guy to, that, there's gotta be some out-of-work pizza guy that you could have just hired. I'm not really sure what was the point of using Joshua Jackson, who used to be a boxer and owes loan sharks money, and the loan sharks are the owners of the gym where Connor trains at, so you know that, like, these are bad guys, and like they keep sending like goons to go and beat him up. I don't, you know, and it's like the stakes couldn't be lower. Like, I didn't really have an emotional connection to anyone, and it's just like a lot of weird choices. Like, I don't know, the movie just sucked. It really didn't capture me. So let's see. You have Joshua Jackson pretending to be an Italian. You got people pretending to be Chinese when I think that they are American. I don't know about Lee. I don't know about the character that plays the Karate Kid, but I know his mom is American. I don't know. I don't know why we needed to blend Chinese kung fu with Japanese karate. The Japanese and the Chinese hate each other. They hate each other. A lot of people hate the Japanese, if we're being honest. A lot of people don't like them because some of their methods for how they would conquer people were incredibly awful. There was something with bayonets. They would take babies and they would throw the babies in the sky and they would catch them with a bayonet. It's gonna make people kind of hate you just a little, just a tad, just a smidge. So, you know, that's the other thing, is like, if you're really gonna go and wade into those waters of culture and of bullies and stuff, don't be afraid to do it, you know. And then Lee himself as a hero is bland. I'm not, you know, he seems nice enough because the movie told me to root for him, but he doesn't really do anything that makes me care about his story or care about his plot line. I don't care about his relationship with Mia. Mia herself, I couldn't care less about. She just makes sure to smile, and they try to make a joke. I don't care about the tutor. I don't care about the tutor who is his wingman, who helps Lee and Mia get together, and then they're on a rooftop date, and then the tutor starts playing Backstreet Boys, and it's like, are you doing that for the millennials? Are you doing that for us? because you know that nostalgia gets to us because we live in a terrible hellscape of reality. And so you knew that we were probably going to watch the movie for nostalgia's sake, and you were like, well, we really gotta get in with them, right? And then of course we all know the ending. We all know that the Karate Kid is going to win the 5 boroughs, and he's going to get his ass kicked for a while, and then he's going to come back. And they even tell us how he's going to do it. There's like this tiger trick, which I'm not going to lie, looked so badass. It's like a spinny, and then you land. It was just like that, just as exciting as I described it. But it looked really cool. And, you know, he does that, and then Connor takes the trap, and then Lee is going to hit Connor in the face. And then Jackie Chan yells at him, and then Lee just looks at him, and then he hits the mat. I never saw him get angry. I never saw this character express an anger issue when he couldn't defend his brother who was killed by somebody else. That's another very human reaction that would make sense. It would make sense that you would have this pent-up anger directed at yourself and directed to other people. It would make sense that he would be looking around his back. This is the other thing. So he is born and raised in China. He never lived in New York. He gets to New York. His brother was stabbed in front of him. They were jumped. And he gets to New York, and you're going to tell me that he's not freaked out? You're going to tell me that he's not looking around his shoulder? He's not weary of the locals? He's not like jumping every time he sees like a sudden movement? Again, does not make sense. That's why these movies suck. That's why people can't relate to them. The whole thing is we need to feel the person's plight, or we need to think like, oh yeah, that is something I can relate to. That is something that I can see. That is something that makes sense, that resonates with me on an emotional level. The movie didn't resonate on any emotional level, except for Mr. Miyagi and Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. And that's it. Anything else, like there is a scene where Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are like kind of beating Lee up. Like they're trying to like train him that way. That was kind of fun to see, you know, because it's like I didn't really care about Lee at that point. And it was fun to see choreography featuring Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. That was cool. Outside of that, it sucked ass. And it's like, why do y'all keep trying? You know? And I saw it a Saturday night. Very few people, like maybe maximum 25, if that. And I don't think this movie came out that long ago. That's not a good sign. I don't know at what point are they gonna stop making movies. Are they gonna honestly be honest with themselves, and at what point are the studios gonna be like, yeah, we're not gonna give you any money back, because at this point movies are a bad investment. You're not gonna get the return on your investment. You're not gonna make profit. So at what point are the CEOs of like Sony and Marvel and Disney, or I don't know if Marvel was bought by Disney, but at what point are the CEOs going to be like, I don't know, I'm just going to take my billions, and there's a yacht, and I'm just going to go hunt somebody and have an orgy, and I'm just going to call it a day. You know, maybe I'll invest in like, I don't know, oil, or like I'll just sell weapons to the Ukraine. Who knows? You know, I wonder at what point are they going to call it, because it would have to be soon if you're not willing to really hire great writers. And if they start relying on AI to write movies, it's just going to get even worse. Yeah, I don't know at what point could we be looking at a future where there's like no movies and movie theaters are completely closed down, or they've just been turned into like top golfs and I don't know, barcades, I guess, that cost $150 per person. I have no idea, but yeah, it sucked. It was it was disappointing. And it was also shot very weirdly. Like, there were so many drone shots of New York. I'm from Jersey. How many times? How many aerial shots of New York do I need to see in my life? It's been so many. And then this movie had multiple ones. It's like, and you can just feel how tepid the performances even were. I wonder if Jackie Chan, like, that's gotta suck, is when you're on a movie and you're like, oh, this is gonna suck, isn't it? You're like, that's gonna suck. You just gotta plow through. It's like, yeah, I gotta plow through this nonsense. But yeah, I don't know. I see that we've got a lot of movies coming out, but I gotta be honest with you, I am not excited for any of them. So we'll see. But yeah, if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought, and let me know what you think about modern movies and where that's gonna go, because I don't see it ending well anytime soon. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.